Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're test driving the Volvo V60 wagon. Now the wagon, this is a car that hasn't been for sale here in the United States for a few years, and the dealers have been just begging for it. So finally Volvo listened and brought it back to the States. And for 2015 it has all new engines to boot. So let's see how it works. To start with, Volvo gave its 60 series a significant facelift for the 2014 model year, which made it a good deal more handsome. This included a new grille, headlamps, lower fascia, and LED driving lights, which carried over into our 2015 model year, seen in the shade of Power Blue Metallic. Our Premier Plus and Sport package gave us some healthy visual upgrades like the 19-inch diamond cut alloy wheels, as well as bright trims on the side windows and roof rails. The R-Design suspension also lowers the V60 by a half-inch, giving it a more sinister stance. The LED driving lights look very cool, but as you can see, don't show up well on digital video. One surprise for this price range was that the old-school halogen headlamps are still the standard item, not even HID. While it's called a wagon, the V60 doesn't have the square and boxy, shall we say, more utilitarian rear silhouette of the past. Instead, it has a much more stylish and raked rear hatch that indeed looks a lot sexier. The stylistic forays do cut into the rear cargo area just a little, but it remains far more utility-centric than a sedan's trunk. In fact, with the seats folded flat, it makes for nearly the same space offered up in many compact crossover SUVs. The interior of the Volvo is a case study in understated design elegance. High-quality materials like aluminum and rubberized trims make for a place that feels as upscale as its price suggests. Volvo does things with aluminum trim that many automakers can't seem to pull off nearly as well. The Sport package gave us highly bolstered sport seats with memory for the driver, as well as genuine aluminum paddle shifters. A fully digital and customizable TFT display and keyless drive with push-button start came along with the Premium Plus package. The center console is Volvo's trademark waterfall design, with infotainment screen up top and their chiclet-sized button panel below. The look is very appealing to the eye, but honestly sometimes frustrating to use while on the go. It doesn't have touchscreen capability. All menu and selection functions take place using various knobs and buttons. For the first time or two behind the wheel, it can be very frustrating to figure out basic tasks like storing a radio station in your favorites. The audio system interface, in fact, is a weak spot with its small fonts on screen. Confounding is the radio presets, which list titles with seemingly random samples of either the song that was playing, the station call letters, or the actual frequency number. Luckily, once you get it where you want it, the sound quality is very good and will please most audiophiles. It makes good use of its 160 watts and 8 speakers, but would not play some of the latest formats of digital music from our USB devices. Our V60 was also optioned with a number of driving aids like blind spot information, cross-traffic alerts, lane change alarm, and park assist, all of which worked in a way that was informative but never heart attack inducing. Under the hood is Volvo's all-new proprietary 2-liter direct-injected and turbocharged Drive-E engine. With 240 horsepower and a healthy 258 pound-feet of torque, the new engine shares no design or architecture with previous brand owner Ford. Mated to a new 8-speed automatic transmission with manual mode and steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, the powertrain offers up both power and efficiency. The EPA rates the V60 T5 Drive-E at 25 miles per gallon city, 37 miles per gallon highway, and 29 miles per gallon combined. We achieved 28 miles per gallon combined in our testing, which reflects a full week of using the air conditioner and driving spiritedly on Arizona's back roads, as you see here. This 2-liter turbocharged engine is actually very pleasant to drive. It's got a really nice power curve. It's got just enough power to be fun to drive, but not so much that the car feels angry. And with this 8-speed automatic transmission, it just makes a nice willing friend out here on the back roads. And the best part about this automatic is it doesn't make you wish you had a manual. It just works well, even in drive mode, without using the paddle shifters or the manual shift mode. And the engine's very refined for a 4-cylinder turbo. It almost sounds and feels like a V6 when you put your foot in it. Let's have a listen.
It just really puts a nice little kick in your back, yet you notice how quiet it is. It's not making a racket at all. And now the chassis, well, that continues the story. Even though this has been around for a little while, this particular platform, this chassis and the handling still remain just as good as anything that's an all-new design. It just has a nice feel to it. It feels premium, and well, it should because it costs premium. But the steering is well weighted, it responds well in the corners, and with these new larger wheels this year, it just has a nice sharp feel.
The R-Design chassis package really did tighten up the V60 a lot with its aforementioned 15mm lower ride height, front strut brace, more aggressive spring and roll bar rates, and the larger 19-inch wheels with 235/40R19 Bridgestone Potenza tires. The V60 makes for a nice combination of sport, efficiency, and utility that you just can't get in a crossover SUV. The wagon's return to our market adds it to a small pool of competitors, including the Audi Allroad and the BMW 328i sports wagon, both of which are roughly in the same price range depending on how they're equipped.
You know, folks, I really like this car a lot, so much in fact it's going on our I'd buy it list for 2014. But there are a couple things I want to pick on, even though I like it enough that I'd buy it. And that's the center stack here. These controls here, this little chiclet style button set, and that really small screen up there. In addition to being hard to see if you're not exactly good at seeing like myself, well, there's a pretty steep learning curve as well. Once you get in this car, you need to spend 2 or 3 days to really get a feel for it. And granted, I know that Volvo's for the smart people and all, but the fact of the matter is, you shouldn't have to do homework while you're driving down the road when you're just getting into a car and learning how to drive it. And the bottom line is we get into a lot of other brands like Kia, Dodge, even Ford, where you pick it up like that because it's intuitive. This isn't. Now, once you learn it, everything works really well. The sound system is awesome, I gotta say that. So the other thing I would say is that it's missing a few features, I think, at $42,000, namely navigation, something that's pretty much a free download app now for your smartphone. Why are we holding out on that in a $42,000 car? I don't know. So these are some little things, and really all I could complain about with this car. So this week, we give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.